Welcome to the Real Knowledge Podcast. I'm your host, Tierras, and today we have a really interesting guest today. He is in all types of real estate business. He has such great stories about his journey in the real estate business. And I want to introduce to you my man, Johnjon. Welcome to the show, brother. Tell the people, who you are and give them a little background on what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So Johnjon, that's actually my real name, all right? On my passport, birth certificate, all that. Everybody thinks it's not, right? So I was born and raised in Miami. Family is Cuban. So I'm first generation here. I'm the first one in my family to get a college degree, the first one to break six figures, and the only entrepreneur really in the family.
Cool. All right. Well, how the hell did you start becoming an entrepreneur out of nowhere?
to be honest, man, I was the kid in school that in elementary I was selling candy out of the lunchbox.
Yeah.
I always was in sales. I always was just trying to find a way to get ahead. I just always had that mindset.
Wow, that's so interesting how some people are just born with it.
Absolutely.
You're already going. You're probably one of the kids that I had in my class that they'll go to Costco, buy the blow pops and sell them for $1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
get them for 25 cents.
I still remember going to BJ's and Costco, right, with my mom to get the big bundles of the 30 different kinds of candy. And I'm like, all right, if I get 2 of these boxes, I get them for 10. So, all right, that's $40. And I'm already moving stuff around. What am I going to do with this? And I probably spent the money that I got when I was 5 years old. I probably just spent it a couple years ago. I was the one to always hold on to that money in the piggy bank and all that.
And who taught you how to save that money? Is it your parents or?
I mean, I don't know. I guess it was just another thing that I just always did. I mean, as a kid, my parents always gave me money. So I would always act like I didn't have it so that they would just give me more and I could save mine. And I was just saving it just to save it. Like, I really wouldn't spend it on anything.
Right.
Like, birthdays, I had more money than everyone in the house. All the birthday money from 10 years, I still had it.
Oh, my God. That's awesome. Saving money is a big thing, especially nowadays that people, they get it and before they even have it, they've already spent it.
So it's funny. Now I'm actually the opposite. My first year making real money in real estate, I spent more than I made.
Really?
Yeah.
So let's get into the real estate aspect of your business, because you have several businesses and successful at all of them. And what I want to know is, how did you get into the real estate business and just tell me that story.
Yeah, so to give you a little bit of background on why it made sense to me, I had my godbrother who was a 19-year-old college kid, and he made like $60,000 as like a 19-year-old. And I'm 2 years younger than him, so I was about 17. And when he told me he made $60,000 at 19, I'm like, thinking, because my stepfather, I've been with him since I was 2 years old. So he's my dad, he raised me. Mm-hmm. But he supported 3 kids that weren't his. Right, as a stepfather, he supported my stay-at-home mom and my grandparents, my grandma, my grandpa, all on a $60,000 county salary.
Wow.
Right, so, and that's 3 cars for all of us, insurances, phone, like everything.
Right.
So again, $60,000 back then was a lot more than it is now. But I was like, Aaron's 19 years old. He's making $60,000. That's what my grown man of a stepfather is making, and supporting a family of 6 on that. And I'm like, it's a no-brainer. Like, let's do it. And I never liked to work for anyone, so it just gave me the best of both worlds.
Nice.
It wasn't that successful at first.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure every business, has its ups and downs, but you always have to continue getting up after you fall.
The highs are high and the lows are low.
Yeah. So tell me, give me I want to ask you, what's the biggest listing that you've had till date?
2.48, I believe.
Nice.
2 million, just shy of 2.5.
Nice, awesome. So yeah. How exciting was it to get that that one under your belt?
It was incredible. It was incredible. I mean, at that time, that year that I sold that property, that was like my breakout year. So, and I'm very transparent. I mean, a lot of people, and I mean, even me growing up, the parents always said like, don't ask people about the money they make, or like talking about money was always just a rude conversation.
Right.
You know, I think in the entrepreneurial world, it should be the opposite. So I've always promoted you should talk about your money, because if my friend who I'm hanging out with all the time is making more money than me, and I'm struggling or worried that I don't make enough money, like, you're my friend, you should help me. But the only way to know is to have these conversations, right? So to give you guys a little bit of perspective, in 2021 was my first year out of college. I got my business marketing degree at FIU, and I only made $30,000 in 2021.
Right.
But the first quarter of 2022, I think I sold that house in March. And I sold probably about another 6, and I made $100,000 the first quarter of 2022.
Wow!
And that's when, you know, I went from making $30,000 all year to $30,000 a month in 3 months. It was like I was the first one to break 6 figures in my family, and I did it in the first quarter.
Wow!
So that was like my big aha moment, and then I did what every young, dumb 24-year-old does. I went on 12 vacations that year. Europe, Vegas twice, Orlando how many times, skiing, New York. I went everywhere because it was my first time like having real money, and like it was mine. I didn't have to ask for permission. Like, I'm gonna spend it how I want. So, you know, I did very well that year. I did about 10 million, right? I did 5.6 in the first quarter, 5.6 with that 2.5, but I ended up like 9.6. So I only did like, you know, $1 million, just shy of 2 million every quarter after that, because I went on like 12 vacations. And I was always an inbound agent. And when I say inbound, I mean that people would call me to help them buy or help them sell. I never prospected. I never cold call. I did cold call, but I think I got one listing out of that, like, ever. Because I just didn't do it much. I never enjoyed looking for the business. I never enjoyed like begging people like, hey, please choose me. Like, you know, the business just always came to me, and I've been blessed that it's come to me. So I wasn't really losing any business per se traveling, because the people would call me, I want to sell, they would wait for me to get back, you know? So, you know, real estate really gave me kind of like a wake-up call, you know? Growing up in Hialeah, I don't know if anyone, you know, from Miami knows Hialeah, but you're in a bubble of like, hey, if I end up in a house in this neighborhood just like my parents, like, I'm good, you know? But then I do that in 3 months, and I'm like, whoa. You know, I always said, if I make $100K a year, I'm good. God, I won't ask for anything else, please. And now I'm like, I mean, it's different times, of course, but you're always going to want more, because I think it's just like a human nature for at least men, right? Like, once you hit a goal, you're like, okay, like, what's next? You know,
what's your next goal?
Yeah, you either got to do it again, but doing it again is not as exciting, because you stayed at the same level. So it's always, what's the next level? So I don't think you ever really get content, but that's the year, to kind of circle back there, that's the year that I spent more than I made. So, I mean, you guys can do the math at just under $10 million in sales volume. I ended up spending like $14 million in sales volume. Just always thinking, I'll get it back the next month. And it's a bad way very bad way to run your business. But I was young and dumb. You know, you got to spend it once.
Yeah, you know, you learn from your mistakes, right?
I value my money so much more now.
Yeah,
much more now.
Good. Let me ask you a question. Like, how does a young entrepreneur like yourself, how did you get, you know, how are you marketing for your business? Because, you know, a lot of people might be questioning, man, you know, I'm in the real estate business, but how can I get leads? How do I do it? You said that you weren't cold calling. So what were you doing? What was your secret sauce at that time?
Yeah, so even still to this day, I've never spent $1 on mailers, flyers, EDM, leads, ads. I've never spent $1 to get business. So everything that's come in has stayed in. So it's not like the business grossed $1 million and then you really netted 100. Like, my gross was my net. So really for me, it's been, obviously I grew up, like I said, in Hialeah, north of the airport. So I was always a popular kid. I was always super friendly. Always had the same kind of energy, and I could talk to a wall for 10 minutes. So I never burned any bridges. You know, I always stayed cool with everybody. You never know who anyone's gonna be. So I had pretty much, you know, north of the airport, I knew everybody, and then I went to school south of the airport for college for my FIU, and really is when I met everyone with really the money, to be honest. Like south of the airport is where, you know, I guess the money's at.
Right.
And I just built my network there. You know, I joined a fraternity. And all that to say is not that the money hasn't even come, the deals haven't even come from the people I went to college with or nothing like that. I think it's just really getting out there, meeting a lot of people. Social media played a very, very big part. I get probably 50% of my business from Instagram, probably 50%. And I don't post nearly as much as I should.
Right. But you are active in social media. You know, they can find you on social media and you're putting your stories there, your houses, your listings, and all that.
100%. I used to do it a lot more back in the day. Now I'm not saying it's a good thing. I mean, you always got to go back to the basics and what got you to the point where you're at now. So I should be posting them more. But I don't even post me doing showings anymore. I've done 10 closings and I haven't posted them. Again, it's not saying it's a good thing. Every time I start posting again, more leads start flowing in, and I'm like, why did I ever stop this? Right? I guess we get caught up in you know, the way I've always saw it is kind of like when you're did you play basketball at all growing up? So, you know, when you start playing basketball, you start learning a new sport and you learn a move, right? You learn the between the legs. You start doing the between the legs a lot and it starts working. But then you learn the behind the back, and then for some reason you just don't go and do the between the legs no more. So once you get the new moves, you start kind of not doing the old moves. And it's a shame because the old moves are what got you to that point, right? So I definitely should be doing it more. But again, you know, it's social media is almost a full-time job, you know?
Yeah. It's free, but not really. You know, when you do social media, it's like you said, you're getting in there and you have to post something relevant. You have to put a good description. If the thumbnail doesn't look good, it's not appealing, it doesn't have the right colors, somebody might not like click on it. It's a lot more than just, hey, just put a picture up.
Yeah.
You know?
And then I get 30 comments and I got to reply to 30 more people. And,
correct.
You know, I'm here complaining, and I appreciate everyone who comments on my stuff. Believe me, I do. It's just another layer to the business where, you know, as realtors and lenders, I'm a lender as well, we have a lot on our plate already.
Right.
We're on our phones all day and our computers all day dealing with other people's problems, right? Trying to find them solutions. So it's like any time that I can get away from my phone, I really try to get away from it because it's all day. It's nonstop, you know?
Well, it's always, you know, it's good. I always struggle with, you know, starting that up. You start going to the social media and then all of a sudden you get all this business, and then you kind of like, you drop it a little bit and then you get back to it, and then it's like a cycle of going back and forth. But it's happened to me. I'm sure it's happening to the other people, you know, watching this, and that way they understand that that's life. That's marketing. That's what's happening, you know, in everybody's life, that you need to figure out how can you stay a course and do that marketing that you really need to do, and continue with the behind the back, you know, play.
The new moves and getting all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hard. It's hard. It's like you have to hire now a team of people just to do your marketing and social media because you don't even have time for it.
Yeah, 100%. And people don't really get how expensive putting out content is. You know, like at least quality content. You know, you could do stuff on your phone and it'll get you by, but like I've hired so many videographers, and you know, I charge you like $300, $400 for a video. Like the event that we're doing tomorrow, one video. Granted, he's got to be there 4, 5, 6 hours, right? So that's also taken into account. But he's like, all right, this will get you one video, and it's like one guy told me it was gonna be like 1,000. I was like, 1,000? Get out of here. So the guy I got is like $500. It's like one video.
Nice.
So you can imagine how that's out of some people's budget, you know, trying to do quality stuff.
And you're doing, and that's only one
video.
You know? Imagine you have to do every day. They say you have to post several times a day. So
Correct.
start adding that up. You're working to pay your social media.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I get it. It's like another full-time job. But as an entrepreneur, we have a lot of hats to fill, and we need to make sure that either we're filling it or we have somebody to fill it for us. So, and then that's another story in itself. So
a whole other avenue. Yeah. So, I mean, people don't realize how hard it really is, keeping track of everything every single day, running everything, not losing leads, putting in a CRM. I have an assistant, and still I feel like just working here, I've aged like 2 or 3 years, literally just trying to learn the systems and getting more organized, because now this is taking more of my time. So I got to put a little bit more systems in place over here so that it's streamlined, so that I can take the time I'm spending here and put it in here. It's stressful, man. It's stressful. But
well, it's a learning curve, right? And that's why I wanted to have you on, because there's, you're a fairly, young new entrepreneur. So, you're running into a lot of these obstacles, but even the person that's had a job, had a business for 10 years might be running into that same thing, and they're still in that same rat race. So it's like, how do you get past that rat race? And it's not an easy thing, but we're all working, through it, doing it. And what I wanted to ask you is, I wanted to get into the REI events, because that's, coming up now. You have an event, I think tomorrow, 305 Day. It's going to be a huge event. Tell me a little bit of, how you got into just meeting Ernie, and then meeting the guys, and then now being part of the actual company.
Yeah, so that's actually it's quite a bit of a story, but I'll summarize it, as best as possible. So I've known Luigi, which is the other partner, before Ernie, and me and Luigi were actually, and I still have it in my notes, like till this day, that he came over to my place and we kind of made the whole game plan up, and me and him just never went through with it, and then he ended up doing it with Henry and Ernie, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, a lot of people think, oh, you stole my idea or this or that. Like, your idea means nothing, right? Execution is, you can have all the ideas in the world, but if you don't do anything with it, then it doesn't mean anything. So they started doing it, and I was like, man, like, fuck, I slipped. I messed up. Like, I should have taken more action. Right. And I actually did one of the events with them. It was one in Wynwood, probably like over a year or maybe even 2 years ago when they first kind of started. Mm-hmm. But all that to say, I started going to these events, these networking events, these educational events. So they're more on the mixer side. I kind of made my mark more on the educational side, where speakers go up, you're sitting down, you're taking notes. Right. And then my best friend, my brother, one of my mentors, Jay Monopoly, he threw his event, and that was my first time speaking on stage. It was at a big conference, about probably 5, 6, maybe even 800 people. And after that, I kind of just fell in love with the events. And I threw one at Mad Club July 13th of last year. And I had Luigi come on because Luigi has a very specific business model that is genius. He just sits at his computer all day and he makes a bunch of relationships with all their wholesalers who get the deals. And getting the deals is the hard part. Because once you have the buyer list, all you got to do is send it out to everybody. Mm-hmm. And he is a genius in the sense of he's doing 60, 80, probably do 100 deals this year, not even acquiring them, just selling them, just dispoing them. Right. So I thought that was amazing and a super valuable thing to teach, the attendees of my event. So I had him go on stage, and then he saw that people paid us to speak on stage. We were charging sponsors $1,500, $2,500, $5,000. So Luigi was the one who gave me a call and said, hey, our other partner is going to be stepping away. He doesn't really have time for this. I showed Ernie your event or whatever, and we really liked the fact that, like, you can make, like, you did one event and you're profitable versus right. Like, we've been doing mixers and they were making their money on the back end. Like, we make our money on the front end to make sure that everything gets paid for, venues, lights, audio, everything in between. Plus, we make our money on the back end, just like Ernie and Luigi do. but you always want to make your money on the front end. You can sell sponsors. I mean, that's the value. You're putting someone with a product or service to sell in front of 200-300 people, you know. And in the real estate game, it's sticky business, right? So if you're a title company, you get one realtor, you could get that realtor for forever,
right?
You know. So you make one relationship and you're getting deals forever. Versus like us as realtors, we get one seller, we sell the property, and they're gone.
Yeah, you need another one quick.
Another one, right? So that's why I kind of like the lending side, because again, you get one realtor, and if you get a one that's worth his salt, then you're good to go. So with 5 of those, you're busier than ever. So that's where the value is. So Luigi saw the event, he saw how profitable we were doing it, and he thought I'd be a great fit for REI. So that's pretty much how I came about. But I hadn't really met Ernie formally until, you know, Luigi brought me in.
Okay, all right. So how do you what do you think the event's gonna do tomorrow? Because you guys have some big names. Oof. I think you have Only in Dade in there helping you out. You have a pretty popular guy called DJ Laz and a bunch of other top people coming in. You said you might have some athletes passing by. So there's a lot going on, you know, in that event, which is really impressive what you guys have like created.
Yeah, man. So you know, I'm so thankful for Only in Dade for you know, for partnering with us. They're the biggest, I guess you could say news platform for the county of Miami-Dade. So 305 Day national holiday here for us Miamians, for us here in South Florida. And bro, we're gonna have about like 1,500 people. In terms of the DJs, I know that there's some popular ones. I'm not exactly sure who's coming. I know we have some surprise guests that you know, you guys gotta come and see. Can't spoil it just yet. But I got I think about 5 or 6 NFL teams coming, or you know, certain players from, you know, a variety of teams coming. Yeah. So there's gonna be some big names there. There's gonna be some big names. Probably our biggest event, but it's not kind of like the events that we throw. This is kind of going to be more like everyone come and hang out, have a good time. We open it up for the whole community, for, you know, the people who make Miami go round and round every day, the postal workers, the delivery guys, mom and pop, abuelo and abuela, tío and tía. Bring the kids out, bring the family. We're going to have affordable food at affordable prices. It's going to be it's going to be
so it's an all age party, basically, or networking event / you know, party.
For sure. Yeah. So Only in Dade really is bringing, you know, anyone who follows them. I mean, our brand and our network is more of the professional, so we're going to have our side. But, you know, really it's 305 Day. It's for everyone to come and commingle, shake hands, meet people, kind of like let the guard down for one day, you know. Yeah. We're professionals all day, every day, 16 hours a day. Just have a good time, meet some people, bring the family out, just enjoy and celebrate, you know, 305 Day with the community.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You know, it's good to give back, and you know, and especially the day that's 305, which, you know, means that's our zip code, that's the Miami thing. So absolutely, you know, awesome to have that. I wanna ask you, you know, if this podcast is for the entrepreneur that maybe is struggling or thinking about opening up maybe a business or becoming a realtor or lender, whatever they're going to try to do, but go on their own and try the entrepreneurial venture. And what I want to ask you is, what advice would you give one of them that might be on the fence saying, man, do I do it? Do I not do it? You know, what advice would you give them that they might become successful, that you might have needed?
Buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride. The highs are high, the lows are low, but you know, a salary is just what someone's giving you to give up on your dreams, right? If they're paying you that salary is because you're making them more money. So, you know, buckle up, you know, put your big boy pants on, and you just know it's going to be a bumpy ride, you know, for sure. Like, if I sit here and told you it was all pretty and sunshine and rainbows, I'd be lying to you. Right. It's a lot of nights I stay up wondering, what am I doing? Is this for me? Just is this my purpose? Is this what God wants from me? Like, you know, just going through it, you know. The lows are low and the highs are high. save up, save your money. Don't spend it before you get it. Don't count it before you get it. And yeah, man, it's not going to be easy. If they crucified Jesus, then, you know, you're going to go through some stuff too. So just buckle up, and trust me, it's a lot better on this side for sure. You know,
it's going to be hard, but it's well worth it. Yeah,
well worth it.
Yeah, because you know there's one thing when you're an entrepreneur, and yeah, you do all this working, but if you want to go take a vacation, you can make the time. You're the one that does the schedule. You can make things happen, and you can't just do that with, you know, your 9 to 5.
Right.
That's why I really enjoy it. I enjoy helping people, especially like in the lending side. But I always like to give back. I always like to give people either, you know, knowledge, or, you know, helping them purchase a home or getting the finance for the home. So all that is satisfactory to me. So that's why, you know, I want to do this and show people that it's not all roses and, you know, sunshine, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You just got to work through it. And,
right.
You know, and I forget the saying that they say that, you know, nobody sees how hard the person works, you know,
in private,
but in, you know, in public, they're like, oh, this guy doesn't do anything. You know?
Yeah, everybody thought I was an overnight success.
Right.
Everybody always thought I was an overnight success. They didn't see that whole year of me going through it, struggling, crying at night, you know, doubting myself, my family doubting me, go get a real job, do this, do that. Like, you're gonna experience hardship. And if you're coming in this with that mindset of, oh, I'm gonna make my own hours, I'm gonna have so much more time, it's gonna be a lot easier. It's not like that at the beginning. It's not like that at all. Even now, like, I leave the office at 12 a.m., 1 a.m. sometimes. Like yesterday I was here till 11:30. But just because I know what I want, and I want to get there so much faster. And going to your point, like, yeah, you could take a vacation whenever you want. But the main problem I've had in like relationships with mine is you don't get off the phone. You can never disconnect. And yeah, because what do you think paid for this vacation? Like, I still got to answer the phone. I still got to be available. You still got to move along. So a lot of times we take vacations, but we're working through the vacation.
Sure, yeah.
You know, a lot of times I'm jealous of people 9 to 5, where at 5 o'clock, they just turn it off. They don't care who calls them. It doesn't matter. They'll get to it at 9 a.m. Like, I'm jealous sometimes, honestly.
I know. I've been in that situation too. I remember we were in London, and we were doing a tour, and everybody had to go and do the tour, and I had to stay back, and I was on the phone trying to get my employee to do something at the office, because we had a really big account that needed they needed their t-shirts, and I needed to walk them through it. So it took me like an hour to do that. So they did all their things, whatever, you know, and it's my group, everybody's together, but I still had to sacrifice that 1 hour in order for us to be successful, because you can't just say, oh yeah, whatever, they'll do it.
Yeah.
You know, you have a team, but you still need you need the quarterback in there. You know, so no Patriot team was going to win without Tom Brady, and Tom Brady was going to win without the team. So you need it all together.
It takes a village. It takes a village. And the village always gets paid first.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter if we're profitable or not. When that time, that first of the month and the 15th of the month, those employees still got to get paid. Oh, yeah. Whether you made a check or you didn't. So, buckle up. It's hard, but it's worth it. It's worth it for sure.
Nice. Awesome. Well, thank you, John, for being on the show.
Absolutely. You know, thank you for having me.
Yeah, great. And we'll see you at that event tomorrow.
305 Day, guys. Lincoln Brewery. Be there. Be square.